These yellow broccoli tops covering the canopy belong to a species known as Ocotea monteverdensis, a truly magnificent tree. These giants grow to reach as much as 35 meters tall, but unfortunately, this species has become critically endangered. The number of mature Ocotea monteverdensis in the wild is thought to be no more than 770. Their role in the forest is crucial, and several large frugivorous birds will suffer if its decline continues. As a member of the avocado family, their fruit is prized by many local birds, including the resplendent quetzal, black guan, and the three-wattled bellbird. Its fruit is on average 1.85 centimeter in length, making it one of the largest of the locally known small avocados, providing a tremendous amount of nutrients for large frugivorous birds. These birds are known to favor this fruit over all others in the Monteverde zone. Even oilbirds have been attracted to this large fruit and are traveling considerable distances to obtain its nutrients. These fruit-eating birds must locate food that has irregular fruiting patterns, making them particularly susceptible to climatic and anthropogenic changes. As a result, multiple species of fruits are crucial for these birds to ensure fruit availability. The further decline of the Ocotea monteverdensis means that less and less fruit will be available for these birds to eat during certain months of the year. These birds will be forced to find food elsewhere. In distinguishing them from other avocados, its leaves are shiny dark green, somewhat narrow and fairly long with prominent leaf veins. The most distinctive feature are the newly growing stems, which are rusty red and quite hairy. Ocotea monteverdensis is only found in the upper premontane life zone, where temperature, sunlight, and moisture levels are ideal. There appears to be sufficient moisture provided by mist events during the first 3 months of the dry season. It only produces fruit once it's very large and established in the canopy, and even then, it only fruits every 3 years on average. This means that it probably takes a seedling approximately 30 years to be able to produce fruit. Fortunately, when it does flower, its bright yellow buds cover the entire tree and contrasts nicely with surrounding green leaves of neighboring trees. This provides the perfect opportunity to survey the total number of trees in the area. Def Johnson contracted a professional photographer, Giancarlo Pucci, and a pilot to fly over the Monteverde area during their peak blooming period in 2015 in order to take aerial photos of the trees. Approximately 600 trees were identified from these photos. Then, an additional field count resulted in 50 mature trees in the area of Los Nubes and 50 more trees in a tract known as Buen Amigo in Alto San Luis. Overall, it is estimated that there are 770 remaining mature Ocotea monteverdensis trees left on the planet.
In putting together enough information on how many trees appear to be left, I wrote a report to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, and they used that report to declare that it is a critically endangered species.
It was determined that these trees only grow in the premontane wet forests of the Monteverde zone. They are almost entirely found on the Pacific side of the Dilaran Mountains of Costa Rica, between 1,200 and 1,500 meters of elevation, in a 2-kilometer wide band between the towns of Las Nubes and San Luis, with the concentrations on the original Pricker farm of Monteverde and near Cañitas and La Cruz. Unfortunately, much of the original forest in this small range of natural habitat was cut down to create pastures, coffee plantations, roads, and small towns from 1940 to 1980. Now, the only mature Ocotea monteverdensis trees that are capable of producing fruit are found in fragments of that remaining forest, mostly on non-protected private land. These smaller spread out pockets of trees are beneficial for genetic variation, but can cause the bird species that depend on them to expend precious energy traveling from one fruiting tree to the next.
Well, certainly the first area protected was the cloud forest, where we have the highest level of endemism of species that are unique. But biologists became aware that not all of the creatures, and particularly some of the birds that are in the cloud forest, spend their entire life in the cloud forest. Some have altitudinal migrations, and part of those migrations go down into the pre-montane forest that's below the cloud forest.
Of the remaining 770 Ocotea monteverdensis mature trees, only 5% are on permanently protected properties. About 25% are on properties where the owners are temporarily protecting them for conservation or tourism. The remaining 70% are on private properties with no real protection. If one looks at the distribution map, one can see concentrations to the south of Santa Elena on the Stuckey farm, where 12% of the remaining trees are found, and on other important properties like Curicancha, Fandavella, and Ficus trails. To the north of Santa Elena, the Jim Wolfe, Marta Ayers farm, Hagel's farm, and the Kinkajou Night Tour Reserve on the Camacho family property are all significant. When Ocotea monteverdensis is fruiting, these properties are also good places to see the oil bird at night.
We started a foundation, a small foundation for conservation, called Costa Rican Conservation Foundation. And at the beginning we raised some money. We bought a couple plots of forest, and some were forest, some were total land. We started planting trees, mainly avocados, and then of course Ocotea monteverdensis. We have planted a lot of trees, so we're talking like we planted more than 170,000 trees. How many of those are alive? That will be a good question. We estimate that maybe 30% survival rate, 35% survival rate. Before it was just a tree, an avocado, one of the 90-some species, and now this species is not only that it's endemic, there are not many, and it's a very small area where it's found. So it became a really important tree.
Through a combination of unsustainable harvesting, prolonged maturity, and the lack of suitable habitat, these trees face a lot of challenges. However, the bellbird and the Ocotea monteverdensis have a special relationship that could help bring the species in the future.
In the 1990s, Dan Winnie and Doug Levy conducted a study that looked at where large frugivorous birds deposited the seeds of the small avocados that they ate. Most of the bird species, the toucans, the toucanettes, the quetzals, the guans, the thrushes, deposited the seeds near the tree where they obtained the fruit. However, the bellbird would frequently fly back to its chosen perch on a dead branch to digest the fruit and then regurgitate the seeds. This is an interesting finding in a number of ways, and it seems that the bellbird perches, because they're typically on dead branches and small openings in the canopy that allow more light to reach the forest floor. It appears that these were ideal conditions for the seeds to germinate, and so I think the bellbird and the Ocotea monteverdensis have this special relationship in that the fruit of Ocotea monteverdensis is the preferred fruit of the bellbird. And it is a large fruit. It's apparently very nutritious, and the bellbird seeks it out. At the same time, the bellbird is providing a service for the tree species by regurgitating the seeds and distributing them in ideal locations for their germination and survival.
So they play this very good relationship between by getting food and by dispersing the seeds.
Well, the better they can understand that and appreciate that what they have are species that are not found anywhere else, like Ocotea monteverdensis. Not just this is a protected species, you're not allowed to cut them anymore type thing, but there's a reason for protecting them. Look for these things, these species that will appear there, and if you have more on your property, you might have a quetzal in your yard.
Right now, I don't only see a beautiful bird that it seems beautiful, I see more than that. I see a bird that it migrates, a bird that we can protect. We don't protect just the bird, we protect the areas, life zones, forests, and a lot of species that are involved in this life zone.
What point in the back of people's minds when they come to visit Monteverde, they're coming with the hopes of seeing a quetzal, the hopes of seeing a bellbird, and if that hope is gone.
So that will affect the economy at some point. But the one that will be most affected will be the forest, because we lose one of the main seed sources of the people. What will be the most important thing to do is talking. At this point, it's talking. It's telling people. I just found out that somebody, by talking and talking to guys, somebody in Manuel Antonio found one with bands on the leg. So that just struck me as, oh, I want to see that bird. I want to know where that bird is, and I want to know who is, because we have the information. Not that they feed only on that they feed on one of the main, also one of the endangered species of tree, the bellbird. And very important for this especially the seed is going beyond that. Is saying, okay, we definitely need this bird, not only for Monteverde, for a lot of different areas. So.
Come when you say you will, and I overstay my welcome, sitting in this windowsill, not letting the spiders build. My cornea like a desert now, refusing to close the fleshy curtain and miss the moment you step in frame. Government Godot, please just take your pick, a $3 bill.